What is up, guys? It's James from Cop Logic. Just a quick one today, but do come with a little bit of bad news. Depends on how you look at it, I guess. But as you know, the January transfer window is open, and we've had an article recently from Paul Joyce in the Times, who says, as it stands, it is unlikely Liverpool will move into the January transfer market. Now, Paul Joyce is a very, very reliable journalist. He's got some very strong and direct links to Liverpool Football Club and regularly features in the press conferences, so even a direct link to Jurgen Klopp himself. Generally, he's considered one of those journalists that is more of a mouthpiece for the club as opposed to other journalists that have a little bit more free reign in what they do and say. So before I jump into what he has said, it'd be great to get your guys' thoughts in the comments below about what you think in general. I mean, there is an argument that Liverpool have a full squad. It's stacked in many areas, midfield certainly, the forward certainly. So there is an argument to say that we don't actually need anyone in January and we could progress through the season just fine without any signings. We made a number of signings in the summer, but at the same hand, there is an argument to say that we need signings. Now, as I said, let me know in the comments which side of that fence you fall on, but for me personally, I'm kind of hoping, and one positive spin that you can take on this is that Liverpool typically do this as a tactic where they let everybody know they're not in the transfer window, they're not looking actively for a player. Klopp will often use the term, we're looking for the right player if he's available. They don't like letting people know who they're in for. They don't even like letting people know which position sometimes they're looking at. And then a lot of the time what you'll find is towards the end of the window, Liverpool will just sign someone, usually out of the blue. A lot of the time it's someone that they've not even been linked to. And with Paul Joyce being so well connected to Liverpool, it is possible that he's one of the journalists they would use as a mouthpiece to kind of get that out there, put it into the stratosphere. So there is a positive spin on this article if you wanted to look at it that way. For me personally, I really hope that's what's going on, because ultimately we're in a title race and signings in January could be the key to winning or not winning a title. And I'm not naive enough to think that if we make some signings in January, that's it, we're definitely going to win the title or anything like that. But I think right now where we are, there are some frailties in the squad, some areas that we could definitely beef up and improve. And we're talking about depth here because we do have a great squad. There's a reason we're top of the league. It's very hard, and Liverpool know this better than anyone. It's very hard in this modern age to win a Premier League title when you're competing with the likes of Manchester City. And Manchester City are creeping up, and I think we're in a very, very good position right now. Obviously, we're top of the table. We're in the best position we could be in. The transfer window is open. Now is our chance to bolster this squad and push forward into the new year and really have a go at trying to win a Premier League title. You would think it's the prime time for FSG to invest into the squad. This is the moment that you would do it. We're probably ahead of schedule, honestly, in where I think Jurgen Klopp would have thought we'd been, certainly where I thought we would have been, but it doesn't matter that we're ahead of schedule. What matters is we're top of the table and the window is open, so go and bolster the squad. I highly doubt Jurgen Klopp thinks that this squad is perfect. There will definitely be areas where there are frailties, areas that he will want to improve in terms of depth. There's a few that I can think of right now. I'm not expecting us to make a number of signings, but there's certainly areas where I think we could focus on, even if it's just one player. The other way, and the negative way to look at this, is that it could be fallout from the summer. You know, we signed 4 midfielders in the summer, and that's typically a lot more than FSG would normally do in one transfer window. And you kind of look at that and think, well, we were probably never going in January then. Based on the amount of signings we made in the summer, FSG probably do not intend to go in January. The one thing I would say if I was Jurgen Klopp in that situation, you know, I'd be having a word with John Henry and I'd be saying, look, we're top of the table. I know you didn't want to invest in January, but we've got a real chance of winning a Premier League title here. But we need to be able to compete with Manchester City. You know, there are some issues with the squad as it stands right now. The defensive line is decimated, whatever way you want to look at it. We've got 2 left backs out. I've no real idea when either one of them are returning. We're playing Joe Gomez, who is injury prone, as a fullback at the moment. And we were originally playing him as a right back rotation option for Trent. Trent now has 0 rotation options because we're having to play Joe Gomez as the only left back we've got. He's injury prone as it is. If he picks up an injury, what do? We have no rotation for Trent, and we don't even have a left back at all. In terms of the centre backs, Joel Matip is probably out for the season. Ibrahima Konate is injury prone. We've got to be careful with him. So we're now rotating both centre backs, Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate, with Jarell Kwanzaa, who, you know, he's just an academy kid that we've brought up. And yeah, I know he's playing great, but that's not what we should be relying on, especially when we're in a title race. I think primarily what we need, and if you'd have asked me at the start of the season, I probably would have said we need a central defensive midfielder. But then looking at how well Wataru Endo has performed and the fact that Alexis McAllister's comeback is right around the corner, I think we can probably say for now we're okay in that department. But what we definitely need, if we were only to make one signing, we need a centre-back. And we could do with it being a class centre-back, one that's got some future at the club, as opposed to a loan signing or as a cheap buy or whatever like that, because Virgil van Dijk's not getting any younger, and we could do with a left-sided centre-back, not only to rotate with him, but to be that option in the future going forwards. It's not the only area that we're weak, as I mentioned. Defensive midfielder, we could definitely do with another one there. I know Bajcetic will come back at some point, and he's definitely a great talent, but again, he's far too young to be relying on. We could do with an extra rotation option. You know, Alexis McAllister's not really a CDM, so we've only really got Wataru Endo. We could do with someone to help him out in that department. And then you look at the right wing, and Mo Salah, he's our only option. Now, Mo Salah never seems to get injured, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. If he picks up an injury, we don't have a right winger. It's going to be interesting to see what Jurgen Klopp does this month, of course, because Mo Salah is going to be at AFCON, so let's wait and see on that. But the point I'm trying to make is there are definitely areas in the squad we can improve. I see no reason why FSG would say, yeah, we don't need to. Sometimes I feel like with FSG, being top of the table can be detrimental, especially for a January transfer window, because it's the perfect excuse for them to sort of, you know, the emergence of Jarell Quansah. If we say we need a centre-back, they'll say, well, you've got Jarell Quansah. We do. He's playing really well. It's like it's the perfect excuse for FSG to pull the purse strings tight, but at the same time, they can also look at us being at the top of the table and say, you're top of the table, you're the best team in the Premier League right now, you don't need to buy anyone. And that's the kind of thing that FSG do, but at the same time, as I said at the start, this tactic is the kind of thing Liverpool do when they want to silence everyone and then pick someone up on the sly. And they're very good at doing that, so this is not necessarily bad news. It's only bad news if you take it as read for what it is. We do know Liverpool are scouting targets. Unfortunately, the only thing I'll say about that is the links, the bigger links, they don't look likely for this January. You know, for example, Ko Itakura and also Michael Olise, both of them have release clauses that activate in the summer, and then they would be available for us to just hit that release clause and buy them in the summer. They're two targets that we've been linked to fairly heavily. I wouldn't say heavily, we haven't been linked to anyone heavily just yet, which to be fair is fairly normal for Liverpool, but those are two names that we are being linked to at the moment, and both of them seem like they'd be buys that would be better done in the summer, and that would line up with this report. So, you know, I don't really know which way to take this, but for me personally, I do think we need to sign at least one. I would love two, but I think that's asking too much of FSG. I do think we need to bring someone in at centre-back in this January window though, and it would be a massive boost for that title if we could do it. And, you know, we are competing with Manchester City, they're creeping back up there. It's not going to be easy, and I just think now is the time. If I was Jurgen Klopp, I'd be on to John Henry and I'd be saying we need to bolster this squad right now. We've got a real chance at winning another Premier League title. But as I said at the start, I do think this one is one that's open for discussion. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Would you want to see a signing in January, and, you know, where would you want it to be? Which position do you want it to be in? Where do you think we need that depth signing for January? Or do you think that we're fine? Do you think the squad is okay? And if we didn't sign anyone in this January window, do you think we can still go on and win the title? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And as always, guys, give the video a like if you did enjoy it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already, because we are keeping everyone up to date on everything going on throughout this January transfer window. And as always, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Peace.